Hello, welcome back to Outlandish Claims, everyone. I'm here with Gio and Mike. We got Demetrius in a separate window. It's going to be a fantastic week. We're ready to do this. Now, let's go over last week, shall we? I will start because I was dangerously close to being right with my prediction, which was Oakland sweeping Boston. I came up one blowout short of getting that right because Boston decided to actually show up for the third game. One game short of getting that prediction right. Kind of bummed out. I was very, very close. I was so happy that Oakland was killing Boston like that, but I'll take a close but no cigar. Gio, Mike, how'd y'all's predictions turn out?
Well, I didn't have any predictions.
Oh, you didn't have predictions. I'm sorry. You weren't
No.
Sorry.
Quick for me.
Didn't I say there would be a no-hitter this week?
You did.
I almost got it, but, at this rate, I'm not surprised. The 1 week I say is going to be a no-hitter. At this rate, we might get a fifth no-hitter before the end of May.
Any weekly anything you can take away from this past week? What did you see, either of you, this past week that stood out to you either positively or negatively? Mike, you haven't been here since the Yankees started actually winning games.
Wow.
So you must have had something to take away from this.
So you guys saw my church outfit earlier. I was in loafers. I was in a button down. I had my chains tucked in under, so I still had Jesus Christ with me. I was going to eulogize the Yankees until they actually started winning. And so then I had to calm down. What we are seeing from both New York teams, I think, is a sign of very promising baseball over the past few days. The Mets, aside from the last two losses to the Rays, I believe won 7 in a row. And the Yankees have gone from 13-14, I believe, all the way now to 22-17. So you are starting to see New York baseball come to life. Aaron Judge is finally somewhere to be found, as is Giancarlo Stanton. I guess they took vacation together to Miami, which I'm going to in about 4 days. Very excited for that. But I like what I'm seeing. This is the first time that I am on this show this year not chastising the Yankees, and I am so happy about that. And in terms of other MLB news not related to New York, how could we not talk about Albert Pujols, man? I mean, in my mind, disrespect that was shown by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in the way that they handled that situation, not necessarily releasing him, but just the way that it was handled. You feel me? You don't treat a Hall of Famer like that. And then to see him go to the crosstown rivals, the Dodgers. I don't know about y'all, but with how competitive the Cardinals were with the Dodgers in those early to mid to late 2000s, and then the crosstown rivalry, even though it's not as big of a scale as, like, let's say the Subway Series, they're still rivals in Anaheim and LA. It's just weird. It's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. Something doesn't feel, I don't want to say right about it, but it's definitely something that's gonna have to take some getting used to. So we'll see what happens. But clearly, the Dodgers get more star power in the form of name than they do performance at this point. But we'll see what he does for that locker room.
That Pujols signing was out of left field. For the longest time, even before the rumors of him possibly going to the Cardinals were a thing, there was always the talk of Pujols going back and retiring a Cardinal. And he even said multiple times he reached out to St. Louis that he wanted to return and mentor the younger guys and eventually retire and maybe become a coach for the team. So going to LA almost seems like a spiteful move to get back at the baby LA team rather than just actually caring about performance, because let's be honest, he's not going to start. He might not even get much playing time. He might barely pinch hit because they already have Mac Muncy at first base. They have Gavin Lux. They have Justin Turner. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, because you could argue he went to the Dodgers to win, but they've been terrible the past few weeks. So unless he's going to retire a Cardinal next season, this is just a weird move, to say the least. But otherwise, good news. Mentioned the Yankees being 17-7 since Jay Bruce retired from the team, which good for them. I didn't think they would get that good all of a sudden, but maybe Jay Bruce was the reason why they sucked. Who knows? As for bad news, we can say the Mets have been great. They've won 7 straight in the past week or so, but we just saw McNeil and Conforto leave the game with hamstring tightness in their left and right hammies, respectively. So you add that up with Lindor still struggling, barely above 200 with his batting average, and then DeGrom on the IL. The Mets might be winning games now, but at some point, the lack of DeGrom and star power is going to catch up to him. And I'm not saying they don't stars, they do, but Pete Alonso hit his first home run since April 25th this weekend. So they have to step it up if they want to continue winning at this pace.
First of all, Gio, such a shame because you were very close with getting that no-hitter, especially because it was my pitcher. It was Ian Anderson. So if you had been correct and that had gone through, I wouldn't have to worry about today's games. As for what I take away from this week, Milwaukee's not looking too hot. The team has lost 3 in a row, four of their last 5. But while Milwaukee is faltering, Corbin Burns set the record for most strikeouts to start a season before allowing a walk. And he set the record for most strikeouts over any period of time before allowing a walk. Whose record did he beat? Garrett Cole. I believe it was 58 this week was the record that was made before he allowed his first walk, both of any stretch and of the season. And I do believe, and the record of the season, he beat Kenley Jansen. Fun times to be Corbin Burns, the Cy Young with, and not to sound disrespectful or anything, but with DeGrom injured, the Cy Young looks to be firmly in Burns' grasp as of today. We don't know what he's going to do the rest of the season, but as of today, it's his to lose. Brandon Woodruff looking great as well. Just a shame they can't find a way to win for either of these two pitchers. They're like the central version of DeGrom, both of them.
There was one stat I forgot to mention about Pujols that I just popped up here. So if Pujols plays a game for the Dodgers, he'd be the 4th MVP to appear on the Dodgers roster this year because you have Betts, Bellinger, and Kershaw. There's only been 3 teams that have done that where MVP or 4 different MVPs have played on the same team once in a season.
All right, let me see if I can guess. 3. Let me say 3. All right, so one is the Yankees.
No.
What?
Yeah. You think, right?
That.
But Betts, Bellinger, and Kershaw have all won MVPs before.
Red Sox.
Red Sox are one of them. Can you name the year?
96?
The 96 Red Sox are one of the 3 teams.
All right. Let me see. The Reds.
Yes, the Reds are another one.
And
the Angels?
Yeah. So the 1982 LA Angels and then the 78 Reds, part of that big red machine.
Yeah, that's my fault for not going with the Reds first, honestly. I should have got between Bench and Rose.
Because that stat surprised me. I'm like, the Yankees are not on here. I really thought they would be, but I guess not.
Wow.
Gio coming in clutch with the stat. I love it.
I got to start doing this more often.
You learned something today, folks. Look at that. We ain't just a bunch of dumbasses making jokes.
Last week of baseball has been pretty wild. The Rockies fan got punched in the face. That was fun. I was on Twitter. I was scrolling on Twitter. That's the first thing I saw. And I was like, well, shoot. I guess the Padres really are toxic. I guess last year's Grand Slam is really mulled over. We go from the Grand Slam to the Grand Knockout. We're like what? A month in, we've had 3-4 no-hitters. I'm not sure if the pitching's come alive. The bats are flattened out.
Well, with that, we shall look towards our weekly projections. Demetrius, what do you see happening in the upcoming week?
After the highs, after the lows and highs and the even higher highs, the Rays beat the Mets in the series. The Rays go 2-1.
Without DeGrom, it's going to be difficult for you to even get that one. But you know what? The Rays can't hit worth a damn, so you might actually end up getting 3.
Okay.
You might.
Might be in the operative term.
Yeah, the only thing you got to worry about is glass now. That's it.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm going to say that the Braves, though they complete the sweep today, are going to regress if Acuna stays out of this lineup for an extended period of time, obviously. I'm going to go on record and say that if he's out for the majority of the games this week, they will lose every game that he's out, outside of the sweep today.
I think the Twins finally get on track this week again. After a really good start to the year, they've been horrid. I think they're currently 12-22 or something around that number. And they do face the White Sox during the week, and then they have a weekend series against the Indians. So my prediction is going to be that the Twins win both of those series, and that includes destroying Lucas Giolito in their matchup on Wednesday.
Lucas Giolito, one of the sadder stories this year. Just dude can't get it together. The Rays are about to sweep the Mets, which is enough to give me a shock right there. I was not expecting that kind of performance, let me tell you. But next week, the Rays get Baltimore, and then they get Toronto. I am going to go out on a limb here and say they sweep Baltimore and then get swept by Toronto. That will do it for our episode today. We'll be back tomorrow to talk to Mr. Gio Mio about his glorious employer and wonderful, completely accurate ESPN power rankings of baseball. We'll see you then.